Hi, Cristina here, founder of Liberate. I wanted to let you know that all of our amazing practitioners, healers, and intuitives are available for remote sessions. And we are continuously adding new classes, workshops, and meditations to serve you every week. Thank you for joining us, and I hope that we can help you liberate yourself. Hi, this is Cristina Dam, and this is Liberate the podcast, where we educate, motivate, inspire, and liberate your consciousness. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Liberate the podcast. Today, we're welcoming back Terrie Huberman. Now, she is an intuitive coach and energy healer. She has her own podcast called The Portal with Terrie Huberman. And she's been on our podcast before, and we went down the rabbit hole of mediumship. But today, we're really going to go down the rabbit hole of love in the third degree. And so, Terrie, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Third degree, third dimension,
Same
whatever.
thing. It's all the same.
Third degree.
It's like a rabbit hole.
It's a third degree black belt or something, you know?
Pretty much. It does feel like you need a black belt to maneuver being human anyways.
Oh,
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. It's so great that we're going to have like human interaction during this pandemic.
It's true though.
Right?
It's like, they're calling it social distancing, but it's really just physical distancing.
I mean, yeah. And then, we need this. We need human,
Well, the human brain is wired for connection. Mm-hmm. So, absolutely, yeah.
Which kind of is a good segue into our whole topic. But, if there's anything else that you want people to know about you before we jump in,
Sure.
Because you've been doing this work for years.
Yes.
You also dabble everything with a dash of humor, which I love.
Thank you.
Also a comedian. So, a lot of times people take this so seriously in the spiritual community.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I get it. We're, connecting, all this stuff. But, if you take life so seriously, you're missing out on that. Nothing is really that serious. All we have to do is live and die.
I mean, we're not doing heart surgery. I'm just saying, But yes, so thank you. I'm one of these people where humor is actually something that connects everybody, and I'm all about connection. And I think one of the reasons why Seinfeld was just so popular is because everybody understood what was happening, which again is connection. So humor comes from the everyday, mundane norm, and that's what I am. I'm all about normal, regular, maybe boring, maybe not, but authentic. It's like, this is it, here it is. So that's really my approach to everything. And so that oftentimes involves cussing. I don't know if that's okay with you, but I'm a cuss monkey. I went to public school, but I went
to public school. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people with potty mouths went to private school, but
maybe. Well, I did also go to private school. I started out in private school, then went to public school. But it's about reality, and it's just about authenticity, and that's where I live all the time, no matter what I'm doing, mediumship, psychic, energy healing, coaching. And I do it all. So I created a package, basically, in a program that just allows us to grow, move forward in life, because being human is the hardest thing ever. So it really helps to have that navigation.
Yeah, to navigate through and to have a program too, I think is really important, because a lot of people get lost.
Oh yeah.
And especially within, maybe somebody goes and gets a session or does one thing, and then it's like, okay, then all this time and process. But anything in life, you don't just go and take one course and call yourself an attorney. There's a process to it.
Some people do though.
Yeah, or cook one meal and you're suddenly a chef, it's like you learn through the process, and it's repetitive action that puts yourself into patterns of shifting your life and allowing you to have whatever it is. Our minds are programmed for continuously doing the same thing that we've always done. And so if we want to shift beyond that, we need to commit to ourselves to change. And I think that one of the things that I see in a lot in the spiritual community is not that, structure for somebody to follow. So I really love that you have that for your clients.
Well, I also think a big part of when you're doing consistent behaviors and actions, how you're building the neuroplasticity and learning basically a new behavior, it's important to have support.
Yeah.
Because when you're doing something new and you're introducing something new into your electromagnetic field, that means there are going to be changes. Yeah. And what is change? Change is uncertainty, and it's scary AF.
Right?
So it's like you need to have that support because stuff is going to show up in your life, or you're going to take certain actions in life that are going to be different, and you don't know how to navigate. So that's why it's important to be consistent with the behaviors and have the support.
Yeah, so I love that.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And a one-time thing doesn't, even when you just get one Reiki session, you may feel really great after that Reiki session, but really, it is integrating energy. That's what you're doing.
I mean, you don't go to a chiropractor one time and you're like, my scoliosis is fixed.
I'm cured.
I have perfect posture. Yeah. It's impeccable. One snap.
Yeah.
But
I think the media kind of, makes it be that way, like for hypnosis, and you're a hypnotherapist, right? It's not just a one-time thing. When we were first learning how to tie our shoes, we didn't just, loop and swoop and then we're done. It took time over and over and over again.
Well, it's not to say that a lot of things can't change after one session,
of course.
But hey, celebrate the miracles and we'll do the work.
But see, here's the thing. A lot of people, they don't want to invest in themselves to make that change because maybe in the past haven't been successful. So they're using their past, right, as an excuse. Because again, it can be scary. I'm investing in myself, I'm investing time, I'm investing money, all of those things. So that's why the consistency needs to happen. You're basically learning a new behavior.
Yeah.
And that's actually, I'm going to tie it into self-love.
Yeah.
When you love yourself, you do something for yourself. Mm-hmm. A lot of us are programmed, I guess you can call it. We're taught, really, but it's an operating system of how we operate, that if we take care of ourselves, we're being selfish. Yeah. A lot of women, definitely. So God forbid you go rogue and you do something for yourself. People around you or even family may say, oh, you're being so selfish because you're going to have a coffee by yourself.
Yeah. Or that you're choosing to not do what is maybe perceived as the situation that, let's say everybody's going and doing this certain vacation or something, and you have some other agenda for yourself, or you're working on something else, or it's during your coursework, or during, you're trying to close on a house, whatever. Yeah. It's like suddenly there's a lot of shame and blame placed onto people for doing things. And I think that there's this over need to kind of look at the outside perspective inward instead of through your own eyes seeing the rest of the world. Right? And if we can change that focus, because how good is it for, let's say, if somebody's moving, since I was just moving Liberate Hollywood, if somebody's moving and you agreed that you were going to go and help, but you're super sick.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will show up anyways because they feel like they're obligated because they need to. And then they're not going to be much help. They might even get other people sick.
Sure.
And they might actually make mistakes and drop things or not carry things and actually get more in the way. So they're actually not that big of a help. But they also did their self a complete disservice. And now they might be sick for another week or so. When instead, let's say if they did want to show up and help that person or that friend, hey, I can't do it today, I'm not feeling well, I need to take care of me.
Yeah.
But maybe in a week or so, I can help you paint or unpack or do something else, or we can go, whatever. And then you can be a better way to be of service for somebody at a later date.
Yeah, absolutely. But a lot of us, again, we were taught if we say no to something, we're also being mean.
Yeah.
And, none of us, well, most, I shouldn't say none. Most humans don't want to purposely hurt other people or put them down, but we're also raised to be approved of and to, make sure that we're not being rejected. So if you were going to ask me to do something and inside I felt no, but I say yes, it could easily be because I don't want you to, not ask me to hang out in the future or be on your podcast in the future, and I'm not taking care of myself in this moment. So self-love is a really, really big thing, and I think a lot of people don't even understand what self-love is.
Yeah, or they might not even know how to love themselves.
That's the biggest thing, because just because you get your nails done or your hair done doesn't necessarily mean that that's self-love or even self-care. Self-care is something like setting a boundary, so, and energetically it shows up as a lower vibrational frequency. So energy is all about how fast light waves move.
Yeah.
And where you are on the scale of feelings create emotion, which is just energy in motion.
Yeah.
Which means how fast are you vibing? What are your vibrational frequencies? So the worse you feel, we can make this really simple, the worse you feel, the slower your vibration. Mm-hmm. And the lower the vibration, the better you feel, the higher the vibration, and the faster the wave moves.
Yeah.
So that is definitely, low and high. There is a gap between them. So ideally what we would want is to be here, but oftentimes we're here, and there's no shame and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But through self-loving acts, you slowly close the gap and then you move your way up, because there's no possible way to go from like despair to joy. There's no way.
Yeah.
A lot of us believe, we can just do it like that.
We'd snap and change our state, and suddenly we're in this happiness, because which I think we're part of that, and why it's so hard is that to go like that immediately. Yeah, temporarily it can happen. You can have that, and a lot of people do. But if you don't change your thought patterns and the way that you think about things, you go right back to it. Which is why it's so important that you don't just get like a healing, because a healing will change your state immediately. But if you walk in and you still have those same negative thought forms, and you go back home and you start looking at your lover, your friend, or your roommate, or your whatever in this way, and this, and then all of a sudden you bring back all that negativity again. Suddenly you feel weighed down again. You were just feeling on cloud 9, and you went back down to cloud 3, and it was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Your circumstances. It's in the same way. Like, I used to work a lot with addicts, and and it's like, if you always had a pattern of going to a bar and having a drink, going to a bar and grabbing a glass of water is not going to necessarily at first help you. Like, stay away from it for a minute.
Sure.
And then you can go there and you can put the drink in your hand and then do the different things. But like, don't put yourself in the same environment that's going to trigger the same thought processes, but this is internally shifting it so that you view the outside differently.
Well, it is, because we're energetic beings. And so whatever we are feeling inside of us, that is the signal, you can call it the electrical broadcasting signal that we're putting outside of us. So whatever is inside is gonna reflect outside of us, because everything outside of us will match whatever frequency we're at. So if I'm feeling sad and I don't do anything to make maybe feel angry, because even anger is one step above sadness. So already you're moving, you're starting to feel better. If I don't change that or do something or have a thought, usually it is thoughts that create feelings, which create the emotions. Yeah. And then it's an action that breaks that energetic attachment. But if I'm feeling sad, then everything that is sad will show up into my magnetic field here, and I will match that. So it's that saying, as within, as without, as above, as below, because it's all energy.
Yeah. And you see it, and you pick it out and you notice it, and like it's I give the analogy to people, you notice like your car, other makes and models, the same car. If you're dating somebody that has a certain car, you notice that. Yeah. That's the same way that I think that you're saying for all those that are tuning in. It's like, you're noticing these sad things, you're vibrating and picking those into your awareness, because that is your energy.
Signature. Yeah, that's what's happening. I don't like to really call it law of attraction. I prefer law of reflection. Because I think
because it is. It's a reflective state because it's not that, like with the car thing, it's not that there's any more or less of those cars on the street.
Right.
You're just observing. And it's that mirroring back into your awareness. So I like that law of reflection. That's the first time I've heard it like that, but it makes sense.
For me, and this is my own personal thing, and everybody has their own personal thing, if I am trying to attract something and it doesn't come, I feel like I might be a failure. I did something wrong in my process of trying to get something, right? So to me, I feel like there's a sense of judgment and failure or whatnot when I say law of attraction. But when I say law of reflection, to me, it's an indicator of how I am feeling. What is my actual energy like? So it's not judgment. And with energy, it just is. Like, there is no bias or anything like that. It is just energy. It behaves in a certain way. Right? So if I am reflecting there's certain circumstances or situations or people that are I'm consistently having experiences with over and over, I can say, okay, this is an indication of what I'm doing, how I'm being. And if I'm looking for maybe more love in my life, let's just say, well, then I have to shift something within myself somehow, some way, so that that love can now be reflected around. Whereas I don't have to sit here and go, okay, I'm going to create, the perfect guy, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. Where is he? He's not here. I must have failed. I did something wrong. So you can see that that's not loving to yourself to actually do that. So I think there's a judgment of, when it comes to law of attraction, about that. Again, it's my personal thing, because the process, law of attraction is only part of the process, because this is energy work. It's all energy.
But where I like this is it's a more empowering space for everybody too, because I think in anybody tuning in, I'm sure at some point in time that you've had something that you wanted to try to manifest, and maybe you even get out the little candle and do the candle ritual, and you do this, and you put it forth, and you meditate on it, and you write it all down like you're saying. But what you're doing is, that is one of the most powerful steps of manifestation, called clarity and knowing exactly what you want. You can't have something show up, you can always have things happen in your life, but it's harder to manifest and create something if you have no idea what you want to create. So I think that there's power to that. Yeah. But in the same sense, then people think that, just because I got clear on it and I want it and I'm trying to manifest it, that it needs to show up. But that doesn't give any responsibility for where you're currently at. And that's where people, especially along the lines of love, since we're talking about self-love, and also oftentimes self-love is also, then people think about the loving relationships in their life, whether intimacy or friendships. But if you're not being, if you look around and you're seeing rudeness and this and that, and or you're seeing coldness or whatever, where are you? I like this. It's showing, where are you reflecting?
Where are you?
Where are you reflecting? Yeah. Are you being cold to yourself? Are you being disrespectful to yourself?
Yes.
Are you not being loving and kind? Are you not being generous to you? And if those are the things that aren't happening for you, they're not going to show up from somebody else shining to you. So I really like this, because it's like this match and mirror game that you can say, okay, I can change this. Well,
the other thing is that looking outside of yourself to get any type of validation or whatnot is, I guess you can kind of say, it is what your reality is looking like. It's actually your dimension, your timeline that you're on, which may not be real. It could be illusion, right?
Or delusion.
Say it, sister. Delusion. Hell yeah.
Oh my God.
That was great. Yes. Oh, that was fabulous. Good one. Ding. Christina gets a point. But it's true. So if you want to change something, it always starts from the inside, right? And self-love is one of those things where it can be hard for us to find, because we live in the third dimension of reality. And what makes this such a challenge is the human ego.
Yeah.
And in third dimension, which makes it even more difficult and harder, is polarity and duality, which is understanding, or not so much understanding, but being able to identify opposites.
Okay.
And counterpoints, right? Rich, poor, fat, skinny, pretty ugly. I'm not enough, I am enough. So can you see how that fits in with self-love? Like if you're doing any type of comparison, that is that counterpoint. I'm not good enough. Why did he pick her? Why did, or whatnot, right?
Yeah, it's so the compare and despair.
It is, and that's ego based on how our programming system is and how, we were raised and what experiences we've had in the past. So it's hard to get past that. But the thing is like if we understand that what might be outside may not be real, then we can say, let me change the inside and change that reality and change this storyline so this doesn't have to be my reality. And this way, life isn't happening to us.
It's happening for us.
It's happening, well, yeah, I mean, as cheesy as that sounds, is
but it is.
This circumstance gives us an opportunity to really make a choice, because that's all what life is, a choose your own adventure. Right?
Yeah.
Am I going to sit here and am I going to, go wallow more, or am I going to go for a walk?
Yeah.
Right? And actions are what help the behavior of energy, because of just how energy works. It can either accumulate, build up into depression or anxiety. It can be redirected, right, into, like if you have a lot of energy, you're very anxious, you can go for like a 10, 15-minute run, get it out of your body. You've redirected it.
Yeah.
Or what happens is you can disperse it where it builds up till it has nothing else to do other than explode. So like, episodes of rage, that's what's happening, right? So, or, the perfect example of energy buildup is an orgasm, right? So it builds up.
Yeah.
So when someone is doing something like an addiction, for example, they're very disconnected from themselves and they're building up all this energy and they're looking for that release of energy through a drink, which takes them to a whole other, So when we're doing that, it's not loving to ourselves. So self-love is a hard thing to do, and that's where like awareness and consciousness has to come in.
Yeah.
Where we go, okay, this may not be the truth of this situation, and that's because we live in the third world of duality, and this may not be the truth. My ego is saying, oh no, I'm too fat to wear that.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So it is a challenge. I don't want to make this sound easy.
Well, I mean,
it's not.
Would anybody actually want it to be easy?
Yes, I would. I'll be honest. I want it to be easy, but it would be boring.
It would be boring,
Yeah.
and that's like okay. So this is like, let's say if you take, there are some people that they want to wake up and have that simple life and do the same thing each and every day.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a large portion of the population, and I think the people that are watching this are seeking out a deeper discovery or understanding of the world, their self, or, the cosmos and beyond, and because of that thirst for more and that deeper understanding, not complacency wouldn't be the right word, but like if every day was super, like if we lived in Pleasantville, or
it'd be boring.
It was like everything was perfect, and the temperature of all the food and the flavor was always great, and there was never any conflict, and your lover was perfect, and then never did anything wrong. Like you would pull out your hair.
You also wouldn't be a human being, because that is part of the human experience. Yeah.
And so what I think that's important to like stress in this is because like everybody's like, I just want this perfect life, or I want things to be exactly how I want them to be. But when you stop for a second and you say, no, I actually probably wouldn't want that. So then you can appreciate the energies of wherever you're at whatever moment, which gets back into what you were saying, Terrie, about just the reflection, that it's not about this judgment, it's about just noticing this is where it's at.
Yeah.
And what is that teaching or serving you, and what are you aware of being in that vibration or having those experiences? And then you can say, do I want to continue to have this, or would I like to vibrate at a different vibration and see and experience different things? And then you say, okay, I'm sick of going to the same restaurant every single day. I want to have a different experience. I don't need to wallow in these emotions.
Yeah. And you got to come online. When I say come online, come into yourself to do that. So, and that again is the whole idea of duality and polarity, because it actually helps evolve us. So it's the contrast, as Abraham Hicks says, So you're right. I'm just lazy, and I would rather just have everything be nice and easy.
No, and you might for a little bit of time. And I think that those of us that have chosen, to be teachers and on a spiritual path, it ain't easy.
No.
The lessons, I often describe it as like a conveyor belt that, normally and through, depending on people's belief systems, it's just my belief system that we get reincarnated.
Right.
And we have this another experience of this type of reality again with different lessons. But, maybe you might have had a couple major, life-shaking events happen in your life, like kind of like the hero's journey. You go through the different pivotal points. But when you enter into a spiritual path, and especially not only just a spiritual path, but you also want to help serve others and helping them grow on the spiritual path, it's like you turn on that conveyor belt and it's like, 10 lives of stuff is going to happen in the next 3 months. You ready?
And when it hits you hard. No rest for the weary. It's like insight after insight after insight. Yeah. And then, but that's what leveling up is about. New level, new devil, right?
New level, new devil. Yeah. I like that. That's a good scene. But it's true.
It's true.
And it's like, think about this as like, okay, if you don't want to look at it from the spiritual perspective, let's look at the different people that have been these iconic athletes throughout history. Yes. They're constantly pushing themselves, doing things like, Michael Jordan had to make 1,000 baskets each and every morning before he was able to do anything else in his life. Yeah. Even in the middle of summer on off season, 1,000 baskets a day. And so but then it's pushing to the next level of who this and that, and let's push myself, and then this. Or any Olympic athletes, it's like, okay, I got to shave that half a hair of time off, and I got to do this and this and that. And there's constantly another level to get to, and that's like life. And you can play it like a video game.
Oh yeah. No more coins, please. No more ghosts.
But and say, okay, what's this level going to be all about? And you can say, okay, in a video game, you want the challenge.
Yeah.
You actually, if it was like, oh, okay, we're just going Mario Go-Kart.
But that's the experience of being a human anyways. If we didn't have these levels, we wouldn't be able to experience anything. And it is the human container, I call it the earth suit, that allows us to have these experiences. Otherwise, we're just like these floating balls of energy. I don't even know if they're ball shaped, like who knows? Yeah. But otherwise, there's just like there's nothing. So we have to take on the human earth suit, first of all, to experience ourselves. And then we have to relate with and to other people, which is going to cause contrast. So we have to have contrast in order to evolve.
Yeah. And I think, I guess tying it back down into self-love as is, with what you're saying about being that reflection and allowing somebody to have that authentic ability to just say, this is where I'm at.
Yes.
It is, I think, is where people, at least what I'm hearing, what's kind of coming through for me is having that there is no judgment on any of the levels that you're on and the different aspects, because the less that you judge that, the less you judge yourself. You gotta allow yourself to just experience in play.
Yeah.
And then you can learn what you really want to do for you. Now you mentioned about sometimes people are going and getting their nails done and doing these exhibits of self-care.
Yes.
But then you got to ask yourself, is this for you, or is this because you got to get your hair done and your nails done, or or for guys, whatever it is, so that you look for somebody else.
Right.
Like what is the motive?
Right. And what's really interesting about self-love is that it does come from the heart. believe it or not. The heart is the largest electromagnetic field. It's bigger than the brain. Excuse me. And they're doing so much research on it that when your heart gets into coherency, the field that it what's the word? What's that? Emits. The word's emit, not explode.
It can explode sometimes. if you see somebody you really like are attracted to, it's like there's an explosion there.
Exactly. That field it emits, and that is what magnetizes experiences to us. So it gets designed, whatever we want to bring in gets designed by the electromagnetic field of the brain, right? Mm-hmm. So that energy is coming out, and then the heart, so the brain, it goes out, and then the heart, it goes out and it brings it in. So it forms the torus. Mm-hmm. You've heard of that. Yeah. And it is when the brain and the heart are in coherency, it means everything's nice and easy and smooth. That's when you really start changing your life, and that's when you start manifesting, right? So that heart coherency is really, it's super important, and it should be, it isn't always, but it should be part of our self-love, self-care rituals, whatever we do. So if you want to go get your nails done, that's great. Get your nails done, get your hair done, and when you come home, I'm going to try not to ruin this mic here, but you put your hands on your heart, and you can just sit there. Because where our focus and awareness goes, that's where energy flows. So we're actually literally just sending energy to our heart by putting our hands on our heart center.
Everybody put your hands on your heart right now and see if you feel anything. Go ahead.
And then you can one-up that, and you can start, again, with the mic, you can start tapping on your heart center here, because what happens is the heart center has what's called the vagus nerve, which is the nerve that activates your parasympathetic system, right? And what that does is it brings calm, it brings peace, and it brings you a feeling of safety. So it's your sympathetic system that's making you go about everything and anything. Survival mode. I got to fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Those are the survival responses, right? But when we're working on our self-love is when we are giving ourselves heart coherency, and we're actually making ourselves feel safe in this world. So, we can do that by meditation. We can do that by, literally, I teach my clients just to tap their heart after just doing this for a while. Because again, you're activating that nerve. So just sitting there, maybe while you're getting your hair done, just sit there and just focus and send energy to your heart. And you are working on making the waves, the energetic waves of your heart, be coherent.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's really powerful, but that's like a huge thing of self-love. We're not taught that.
Yeah, no, we're not. And in the simplicity of something of just putting your hands on your heart or tapping your heart, and how important. I mean, like in pranic healing, that's always if we're trying to give loving energy to somebody, and they need more unconditional loving energy, you tap your heart so that you can project that energy.
Right,
so
and
it makes sense.
That field is coming out. And so not only is it going out to somebody else, and their field will integrate that loving energy as well, but it is sending out the frequencies and vibrations so that it can match the levels around you, so then your world starts to reflect love too.
That's beautiful.
So it's really beautiful. So, I mean, people who, like you and I, who are always of service, it's super important for us to do this, because it's like a dual benefit. It's for us, and we're sending out to other people. So it's really awesome. It's really powerful, and because it makes us feel safe in this world, we are not at the mercy of the chaos of the world. We're not at the whim, right? We are actually coming from a more powerful, empowered place. We're not victims.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about that, especially for the time of the world, and the state of the world right now. Is I find that a lot of people are getting lost within the outside perspective.
Yes.
And whether they're getting caught up in politics, whether they're getting caught up in the coronavirus, whether they're getting caught up in the economy, or whatever else it may be, right? And numerous things happening.
Sure.
What would you say is some of the ways that you can help people experience self-love in the third dimension and pull themselves away from some of this distractions that are going on that are keeping them from feeling that?
It's a really good question, and it's very important. So the first thing, and it's super hard to do. So again, all of this stuff, because we're human beings, it's not easy to do. But it would literally be to not believe everything you hear or everything that you see. Because that is all, remember, this is all energy and it's all vibrational frequencies. And what's happening is that the collective, which is made up of a lot of like individuals, so like you and I right now, we have our own collective. Otherwise it's Cristina and then just Terrie, right? They make an agreement. The collective is making an agreement based on energy that this is how it's gonna look. So the first thing would be is to not believe everything you see and not everything you hear. And just consider, so try it on like a coat, you don't like it, take it off, that it's not real. None of this is real. Which gives you an opportunity to take an indicating status of where you are and what is it that you would like to change in your own personal reality. It always starts individual before it can go collective.
Yeah, which is super, I think, important for people because I think people get so carried away and they feel powerless within the circumstances, right? So there's so much going on, it's outside of my control.
Yeah.
But your life is within your control in the moments that you experience.
Absolutely.
And if there's any time more now than ever before, I don't think that there's a single person that's not watching this that has experienced also massive misinformation on both different levels. So for the fact that, Terrie, you're saying, try on that maybe it's not real, hopefully people can get that because I think that there's been at least whatever your belief systems is, and I'm not here to tell you what to believe or not believe. This is for you to make your own choices, and it's going to shift and change as it goes anyways. But I think that anybody, no matter your deeper belief systems and whatever's going on in the world, you can acknowledge that there is a collective disagreement that is in massive conflict.
Yes.
Because there's information here and then there's misinformation here and like you don't know what to believe, right?
Right. However, I do feel that there's an agreement that it's accepted.
Yes. Well, yes. So there's an agreement. Otherwise, it wouldn't be.
It wouldn't be
there. But at least the aspect of saying for what you're asking people to do is try on the coat that maybe it's not real. And I think that it's easier to try on that coat in today's climate, hearing information that contradicts each other every other day.
Yeah. And, your truth is your reality. And you don't have to be at the whim of the chaos of the world. And
you can be super empowered.
You can be super empowered, and you could be okay doing it alone.
Yeah. And I think that this is like if we get into the power of health, which I know I know that you do a lot of work with Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he really look at some of his books and the stories of people that radically shift their life or heal themselves of cancers and different aspects. It's like, what reality is somebody are they hearing the prognosis from the doctor, or are they believing what they have in their self to control their life?
Right. Well, that would probably be the second thing that I would tell somebody, because you were asking, what you could do. So the first thing is what you see or hear may not be the truth. The second thing would be, can you trust in your future reality that isn't here yet? And can you sit in what it would actually feel like to have what you want, even though it hasn't showed up yet?
Okay, so what would you recommend somebody do that? Like in a meditation, or how?
Yeah, so you have to activate certain frequencies,
Okay.
Energetic frequencies. And the best way to do that is to show gratitude for something that isn't here yet. So how would you feel, Cristina, if I'm just going to give you an example. Let's say you wanted, I don't know, a Lamborghini. I don't know. I doubt she does. It's just an example. Let's say you wanted a Lamborghini, right? In sitting here on this chair in this room, if you authentically wanted it, it has to be authentic, people. It has to be authentic. But like, how would you feel? How would you feel holding the steering wheel? How would you feel washing the car? How would you feel making payments on the car because you were so grateful that you had it? So it's the signature of having something that isn't here yet. And that's how you raise your vibrational frequencies. Because again, and you know this as a hypnotherapist, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between fantasy or reality.
Yeah.
And again, it's matching frequencies.
And Terrie, I mean, like, this is like what she's saying, and the different, I love that you're tying in different science and different vibrational frequencies. And you know, even just on that note of your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and fantasy, there's been numerous studies that have been done, like let's say on somebody pretending in their mind to work out and lift weights, and their muscle mass grows by like 20%, and they never lifted a dumbbell. Like, you know, so like all they did was visualize that they were lifting weights in their mind. So and muscle mass grows. I mean, these are real studies done by many different universities across the nation. And so they're out there. And you can't have your mind not knowing the difference if your body's legitimately producing more muscle mass.
And what you're doing, okay, so since energy can only behave three ways: accumulate, redirect, or disperse. When you're taking an action on something, you're doing something, right? So let's say you're acting, not only are you feeling as if you have that Lamborghini, you are acting as if you have it. Right? And what might some of the traits be of somebody who can afford a Lamborghini, right?
Let me put on my arrogant suit.
I mean, I don't know why.
I'm just teasing.
I don't know why Lamborghini. Maybe somebody wants a Lamborghini, but you also take the actions of the feeling. So, and that is what creates. And again, it's the coordination of that torus field. Your job is only to design that you want the Lamborghini. How it comes to you, not up to you. That's your heart. And we can just break it down to heart and then to soul and then ego. But they both need to work. The ego's not such a bad thing. It's just learning how to integrate it. Yeah. So those are definitely two ways, I would say.
Okay.
And then, just always making sure as much as possible, okay, granted, we live in such uncertain times, to go with the flow.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the biggest ones.
It is.
Because anytime you're not going with the flow, you're creating unnecessary friction.
The problem is with going with the flow, and it is great, is that oftentimes you're seeing reality as it is. So that's why it's like, well, what do you do first? I would pretend it's not there first.
Gotcha.
And then go with the fact that it's not here, but really trusting and knowing and feeling that, oh, it's here. Like, I have no doubt in my mind, it's here. Like, it's here.
Yeah, I get you on that, because otherwise you become complacent to the reality instead of in control of it. But if you're clear and you have that vision, and then, like, let's say an obstacle comes, you maneuver without causing it, and without being upset or angry or mad that, oh, here the freeway's closed and I have to take a different detour. Okay, it can be okay. Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe you can go to that restaurant for dinner, and it doesn't matter that you were craving that food. Go somewhere else. Maybe you'll enjoy that meal even more.
Or you don't know who you'll run into, and maybe they'll give you their Lamborghini. I don't know.
And then you never even had to make the payments. You just showed up.
And again, the how is not up to us.
That's where a lot of people get stuck. There's our meaning making machines.
Yes.
Let's create a path to how exactly to get there.
Yeah. And that, of course, comes back to polarity and duality. And that's noticing what we have and what we don't have. And then continuously saying over and over and over again, oh, we don't have it. Where is it? Logging, tracking. And that lowers vibration.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It's crazy.
And in self-love, a lot of people, I think, look at love in order to receive. How can we help people have love just to be?
Well, you can apply the same thing. It's a worthiness issue. It's like knowing that you have something to offer. Mm. You know, so there does if that's something you don't believe, that becomes a belief system. So if you don't believe you have anything to offer, you probably want to do some even deeper work so that you can get to a place of self-love.
Yeah.
So self-love already kind of connotates that you have some awareness of yourself.
Yes.
So you first have to have awareness of yourself. And a lot of that is by connecting to yourself. So if you're disconnected, you know, you got to become aware. You come online.
And a large portion, it would be working with somebody like Terrie, doing some meditations, doing even some internal journaling, because
definitely
get some awareness of where your starting point is, of who you are. Because if you don't even know who you are, how do you know how to love yourself?
Well, and you can learn that. Yeah. So you can learn that. So it's not like...
Yeah, it's not ever changing anyways. I mean, like, just like our taste buds change every 7 years, you know, like you change, you know, so like it's okay to know that what you love today, you might not love tomorrow, and what you hate today, you might love tomorrow. Yeah. And that's perfectly okay. The reality is shifting, you know, but understanding at least some aspects of you that you can have some awareness.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Anything else you want to share with anybody, everybody?
Oh my gosh, where would I start, Cristina? No, I just think the biggest takeaway from all of this, I guess, would just be is to like just know that where you are right now, if it's not where you strive to be or want to be, is actually the perfect place to be. It's hard to trust that and know that, but if you can just walk away with I am where I am and where I am is okay, it helps. That. That's actually, I have that on my phone. It pops up every hour as like a reminder to tell myself. So that would be like one of my mantras, like I am where I am and where I am is okay, because it's acceptance. It's not defeating. And it's not, what's the word? It starts with a D. Where you're, I can't remember, but it's...
Yeah, I can't think of it.
Yeah. But, so you're not like giving into, you're leaning into the discomfort of where you are, but you're also you're not making like yourself having to be perfect, because life is so messy. Life is messy. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, if you can just be where you are at this moment and just say, I am where I am and where I am is okay, it can make you feel safe. And when you feel safe, you can access your intuition, and then you can take just a next step. So you don't have to know already where you need to be, but if you're feeling safe, you can access your intuition and you can know where your next step is. So that is what I wish and pray for everybody at every given moment, is just to be okay where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Terrie.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, where can people find you?
So I have a website. It's called terriehuberman.com.
Wow.
Complicated. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook, also at Intuitive Coach Terrie. I just launched a new podcast. It's called The Portal with Terrie Huberman, and I also have a Patreon community where there's exclusive content, there's workshops, there's group readings, and energy shifting sessions. And I also work one-on-one with people. So you can find everything from my site, terriehuberman.com.
Beautiful. Thank you, Terrie, for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, guys. Till next time. If you enjoyed this conversation, like it, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you want some more amazing resources on your path of liberation, head over to liberateyourself.com and sign up for our mailing list. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram at Liberate Hollywood, all one word, or Liberate Emporium, all one word. Until next time, liberate yourself.
My name is Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Reverend Doreen.
Hi, my name's Travis.
My name's Kimberly.
My name is Lily, and I'm an energy healer at Liberate Hollywood.
I really believe that everything is transmutable and everything is possible. I believe that we are swimming in a sea of energy, and that this energy is love, even though I know a lot of the time it doesn't always feel like that.
And I do pranic healing, which is energy. I'm a Reiki master, more energy. So what am I? I am a channel for energy to come through me to help you.
There really isn't anything that you would need to do to prepare for a session other than be comfortable. The whole goal of the session is to provide you with a warm, comforting, soul and heart-centered environment from which to allow healing to occur.
No, just come as you are. Always just come as you are. That's my job as a healer, to meet you where you are, to figure out what you need, and to give that to you, or to guide you also. I'm so honored to be a guide in helping you to connect.
To help re-energize you, heal you, change your programming so that you're no longer in your way of getting to things that you desire in your life.
My objective working with clients, I guess, would be to help them connect to their divine self, so that they can facilitate their spiritual journey and their soul's path.
In all forms of energy healing, regardless of what the practitioner says, it is up to the client to change their life. As a practitioner, we're serving as a channel or as an instrument for God to do the work, but it is up to the client to make better choices.
I'm most passionate, I think, about being able to create a loving, supportive, and heart and soul-centered environment for clients to heal.
I get really excited when I have a new client who's never experienced energy work before, and they tend to say that they were drawn or magnetized into the store, and they don't exactly know why or what for. And it's an opportunity to introduce them to the divine. And I think it's a really beautiful thing to have that moment of awareness, and that they're in that space of surrender because they don't have any expectations, and they really get to see what it feels like to be a spiritual being.
And once you activate that place within yourself, it's powerful and it feels so good. It's very healthy for the body. I think it realigns all of your energy. It connects you to source, both within you and outside of you. It's really cool.
It's such an honor and a privilege to be in the space where a moment happens and people have this awareness about who they are, or they're able to grieve over something they may not have been able to before, or they are able to see themselves for who they truly are in a more empowered and soul-centered way.
But I'm trying to give you the tools so that when you leave, you feel connected.
Come with an open mind, come with humor in your heart, and we'll get you on the right path for you.
You'll learn more about yourself, you'll let go of things that might be holding you back in your life, and you'll feel more empowered about your decisions. I hope to see you soon.
So expect change, radical change. I laugh, but it's true.
Thank you. And I wish you love, peace, and higher consciousness.